The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host and or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of the host and or Paranormal Buzz Radio and or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is prohibited. Paranormal Buzz Radio will not be held responsible for you holding your knees, crying, and rocking in a corner in a puddle of your own urine, or being beheaded by a group of children in a cornfield. In fact, if you come across a group of children in a cornfield, we promise to make fun of you as you run away screaming in terror. Listener discretion is advised. You are now entering the all-consuming realm of Shay's Paranormal Chat, where the things that are better left unsaid are actually said.
Shut up and sit down.
You're listening to Shay's Paranormal Chat. Paranormal podcasting done Shay's way. Tons of fun.
Dude, seriously?
A bit sarcastic.
Hashtag investigator, not hunter.
But always real.
Hashtag data, not evidence.
Don't get your panties in a twist.
Oh my god, really?
This is real, raw conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Shay's Paranormal Chat. I am your host, Shay Carroll, TGIF as always. I'm very excited about tonight. Tonight we're going to be talking about being an owner of a haunted location with who else but Rebecca Williamson. Hey, girl, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Shay?
I'm good. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, me too.
I'm also kind of scared.
Yeah, I think I actually cussed a little bit when I was text messaging you about this one.
A little bit. Like, she uses the word cuss, people. Like, you know, I brought it up first. This was already planned. And then something happened. And she's like, let's effing go for it. Like, boom.
Obviously, this is a subject I feel kind of strongly about. And yeah, I got a little worked up. So, anyway.
Yeah. So, we're just, because Rebecca and I also do it on the show, Exploring the Unknown, that we're just going off the cuff here. We're used to working together. Yeah.
We're going to wing it. I gave Shay a list of ranting topics that I wanted to complain about, and we'll go from there.
Right? Like, so, all right. I don't even know where to start because all the list.
Let's start with who I am and why I'm a location owner and why I'm so pumped about all this.
See, this is why she's my co-host on the other show. She carries me. All right, go ahead, hon.
So I'm Rebecca Williamson. I'm the owner of Cambry House and Farm. It's a haunted wedding venue, and I've owned it since 2016, and we've been doing paranormal investigations out there since 2017. So yeah, I host my own paranormal investigations out there, and then I rent it out to paranormal teams as well. So yeah, that's kind of a nutshell, Reader's Digest condensed version of I am a location owner.
Yep. See, I know so much background information that this is going to be hard for me. This will definitely be an edited show. I hope not, but, like, I'll try to control my mouth.
I might actually cuss in this one.
Yeah.
When Shay said, hey, let's do a show, and I'm like, okay, because I want to complain about this. So, like, one of the first things I wanted to talk about was Waverly Hills.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Let's
start with Waverly. Okay, so Waverly is having some problems. I don't know if anybody has seen some of the stuff online, but they are having a disagreement in ownership. So Waverly Hills is a 501c3 nonprofit. What that means is that they are registered as a nonprofit. They have a board that makes all the decisions for the property. You know, I've been asked often if Cambry is a nonprofit, and it is not, and nor will it become a nonprofit.
Legally. Yeah.
Legally. And I was told not to do that. And I was told not to become a nonprofit for the exact reasons that Waverly is having issues right now.
Exactly, because of the board. So, can we pause there for a second?
Yeah.
Because I know you are going to go on and on about Waverly, and I'm going to be right there backing you up. But you just explained what a nonprofit was, right?
Yes.
So what does that mean for teams claiming to be a nonprofit?
Well, what it should mean, it means that they should be a registered 501c3. It means that they have registered with the state as being a nonprofit, that they're submitting a list of their board members. They have to have a board of at least 10, I believe. President, treasurer, secretary, they have to file every year with the state. Yep. They should not be making a profit. That's a kind of a grayish area, because you can pay your board staff.
Right.
You can pay them a salary. You can charge, but if you charge, that money has to go into the nonprofit and be used for to support the nonprofit. So exactly. You shouldn't be making a profit, but you can pay your board a salary.
But this
kind of
what this means is, well, number one, I don't know about you, but I 1,000% am against teams charging.
Yeah.
Anything. Number two, so when you see a Facebook group that claims to be non-profit, you gotta ask questions. Is it just because it was on the list for Facebook? Like,
yeah. Are they actually registered nonprofit?
Yeah, because it's a legal thing, and a lot of people don't get that.
No, a lot of people don't understand that. They just think nonprofit means you're not making money, and that's not exactly what it is. It's a taxing structure so that if you're making money, you don't have to pay like income taxes on
exactly.
It.
And I was one of these people that thought that in the way beginning, like 2013.
Right.
I didn't understand either.
Like, to me, if I see a team as a 501c3 nonprofit, either they are a big team in a really big city, and they need that structure, or it's a team who really doesn't know what they're doing and they're kind of like using it as a tax evasion.
But how can that's the whole thing.
See, the team part, I don't know why they would need to be a 501c3.
But you see it if you look. If before you like a team page and you go and look, like I'm specifically talking about Facebook here. You can do business, blah blah blah, nonprofit.
Unless they're collecting donations, because one of the things as a nonprofit is any of the donations that they take as a team would be tax deductible. So if you were to donate your money, like you'd have to donate at least $300 to write it off on your taxes, but you could write it off on your taxes as a donation to a nonprofit. But what would a team need with that money unless they were like flying to like...
Yeah, it's such a touchy...
locations to like help with ghosts. I don't know. There could be reasons, I suppose, but
how do you know without asking them Is this a legal nonprofit, or did you just pick a category?
Right. And the other thing you can do is you can check, there are lists of nonprofits with the state. You can go and check on them to make sure they are actually a registered nonprofit.
Exactly.
And they can get in trouble if they are claiming to be a nonprofit and they actually aren't. It's illegal to misrepresent yourself as a nonprofit when you're actually not.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it is actually technically illegal because 501c3 isn't that you are a registered nonprofit, and if you are claiming to be a registered nonprofit and you're not, it's not good. You can face fines and stuff.
Yep.
Not good.
Which is why we're talking about it.
If you're taking money from people and claiming you're a registered nonprofit, that's illegal. And you can get into some big trouble for that. Yeah. Just bye. So nonprofit. And like I said, back to the location part of it, I was told not to do that, not to become a registered nonprofit because I own my location. And I would lose control over the location if I became a nonprofit. What does that mean? It means that I no longer have say in what happens on my property.
You have no decision making.
I lose my decision making power.
Anything with the board.
Yes.
Does not have.
Even if I was on the board, I still have 10 other people
nine
other people that I have to have agree with me before I can make any decisions on the property.
Yeah.
Now here's where Waverly has a problem. They had new people come on the board and they are not in agreement with the location owner, or actually they don't even own the location anymore because the board owns the location. So the couple that bought the Waverly Hills property 20 some years ago that actually lives on the property now no longer owns the property. It's owned by the 501c3 nonprofit. They've been asked to leave their home.
And they were removed.
Yeah, they were removed from the property, their own property that they bought and paid for. They were removed from. They no longer have any say in anything that happens out at Waverly. And it is legal to do that. I mean, they're getting lawyers and they're fighting for it, but it's going to be a hard fight. And
okay, so here's my question before we move on.
Yeah,
is this fact or is this hearsay?
Well,
for the sake of the show,
for the sake of the show, I'm going to say that it's a mix of both. All
right,
they're definitely a registered 501c3.
So right there, I'm going to say, because I'm a co-owner of the network, this is all hearsay. Go check it out for yourself and you make your own decisions, but continue.
Do some research. There's definitely a big divide between the original property owners and the current board of Waverly Hills.
There is. But until court things come out legally.
Right. And unfortunately, I don't think the original location owners have a lot of legal leg to stand on.
Neither do I.
Because
it's not like they messed up, but they thought they were doing what were best, and
they thought they were doing what were best. They thought they were protecting the property. Again, as a registered 501c3, all the deductions all the donations are tax deductible. It makes people donate more when you're taking money like that for a project. It's understandable, but you open yourself up to this happening, and it's sad. It's really sad.
It is, because they've done a good job.
Yeah, they have. They have done a good job, and now, the current board is doing things differently than was done in the past. And I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing. I guess it depends on who you talk to.
Personally, From what I've read, I agree, but as the owner, I have to say, again, hearsay. I'm just covering me and Matt's ass. Sorry. I don't do that much, but I'm doing it here.
Right?
Yeah. I'll say douchebaggins all day long. But in this case, we don't know what's real, what's not real, but we have our opinions.
Yeah, I have my opinions, and
you can have your opinion all you want. You can state it. I'm not mentioning it again, but from here on out, this could be hearsay. Here we go. There we go.
Honestly, the actual Waverly Hills board has not put out much information about this at all.
That's what I'm worried about.
Other side of the case has a whole Facebook group and
but that's just people.
They're putting out flyers. They're doing all kinds of podcast episodes talking about, Save Waverly Hills, because they're trying to out the current board. But again, this is what, people ask me if Cambry is set up as a nonprofit, and it's not.
And it never will be.
No. Unless I am in my 80s and my kids don't want to take it over. Then if I set it up as a nonprofit and create a board and stuff, then I know that Cambry is going to be taken care of after I pass away.
I know. Yeah.
That's the only reason it would become a nonprofit, is if I was worried about continuing it after I'm there. Like I said, you lose so much control of your property when you do that. Now, Granger is a nonprofit in Iowa. Where is that? Marion, Iowa?
Marion, yep. And that's on, the main people are Sarah and Adam Hyatt. I don't know if they legally own it, but they're board, so I don't.
Yeah, Adam and Sarah are on the board, as is Vicki Noah and Steve Weeks. I know several.
Yes.
Yeah, I know several people on the Granger House board. And Granger House, I think, was originally just started as a Victorian museum, and then they decided to try and do some ghost tours, and it's been profitable for them. But it's a museum, it's a nonprofit, and that had more reasoning than, that one was set up as a museum first.
So it's different.
It's a little bit different.
See, I don't want to get into too much of that because I love all those people, and I don't know enough myself to speak of. I knew it was a board. I knew it was, but I don't know enough.
It's working for them. It's working for Granger. Yeah. But again, Granger, they've got a good board. They've got good people working on it. But if the board voted to stop doing ghost tours, then they would stop doing ghost tours.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's the way it is.
It is what it is, yeah.
It is what it is.
So, all right, let's get back to Cambry. How long did you say? 2017?
Yeah, 2017.
You legally bought it. You pretty much grew up there, but
I grew up there. My grandparents bought it in 1979. I bought it in 2016.
16, sorry. So when did you start ghost, quote unquote, ghost hunts?
2017.
All right, so obviously the benefits to that is there's a history, you make money somewhat. Everybody knows the benefits. Let's talk about the negatives.
Yeah, I was writing about this too, wasn't
I? It's on my list.
I did. I had a list. Okay, so yeah, I love having people come investigate the farm. It's great, but they come in and they don't always listen to the story. One of my biggest pet peeves is when they make up stuff that does not go along with the history, the known history of the location.
How do you know they're making it up?
Because it's
what
not...
if they had an experience that they interpreted one way? Or are you talking about straight out faking?
I'm talking about straight out...
faking.
Straight out making crap up.
Faking.
I mean... They claimed that a person who wasn't even alive was tied up and abused in my basement. This is not fact. Number one, they weren't even alive when the basement was there. Number two, no one was tied up and chained up in my basement. That's just not... No. I've investigated my location enough. I have enough history of my location that I have a pretty good idea of stuff that went on there, and that is not one of them. And I know that there's some flexibility on this. I'm willing to be somewhat flexible, but when you're contradicting the known recorded history of the location, you better have more than, I think this sounds spookier than your story.
And you're talking... recorded history, not Rebecca's history.
No, not my history. I mean,
recorded.
The actual stuff,
yeah.
Courthouse, like the courthouse records. I mean, I don't know. Just that part right there is like one of my biggest hot button issues. Like it's one of those things that pisses me off the most when you're out there telling me all kinds of stuff like, well, she lived to the age of blah, 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 blah. No, she did not.
Just because they heard a name and put it with something, you think?
Yes. I don't know. It really gets me fired up, though. You know, I mean, I get the whole theme. I get the whole psychic thing. You'll pick up things and you'll feel things, and it won't necessarily be what I think is right or whatever. But there's a difference between what I think is right and you think is right and actual going against.
But any good psychic will be like, I could be mixing up signals, could be mixing up. They'll tell you, I'm not exactly always 100%.
Right, and I'm not going to have every single minute recorded in history of Cambry. I understand that.
But when they use it, when they pull a name out of history that you 100% know and put it in a different time, in a different experience, you know it's not right.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that can really get me obviously very, very fired up.
Right.
Like, I have all the history there. When you come to Cambria, I have binders of the genealogy and timelines, and all that information is there. I email it out in PDF files before you come so that you can look at it and go over it.
Now, is that a mistake or not a mistake? You're giving them all the information up front. This is very debated in the field.
Some of them don't want it until afterwards. Right. I will say that. Some of them don't want it until afterwards. I ask first. If they don't want it, that's fine. I understand that too, because some would rather not know the history first, and I get that.
Those are the people that would be like, I'm wrong. Okay, no worries.
Right. And, you know, you deal with some really great people who are like, when they come up with something that's a little off, and you're like, no, that's not how it happens. And they're like, oh, well, maybe I'm wrong. And then you have to deal with others that are like, no, I am right, you are wrong. And as a location owner,
there's certain things you know.
Rude.
There's certain history. It's like saying Gettysburg Address didn't happen just because your investigation didn't show it.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, you know, like one of the big takeaways I had from Waverly this summer, when I went, they had a ghost that had a story that was told about her. And the story that they had was completely wrong. But they didn't have any history. They had no documented history of this person. They just had what they had from investigations and the story that they had been telling about this
That's
ghost.
called hearsay, but okay, go on.
It was hearsay. It was wrong. So then, by doing some investigation, they were able to do some more research, and they came up with a different story that they now believe is the right story, but there's a little bit more basis in fact. A little bit, not a lot. They don't have like newspaper clippings that show exactly what happened or anything like that.
All right. Can we change gears a little bit because we're almost halfway through the show? How about people that treat your property bad? There's a surprise question.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah, surprise. Hello.
Yes, Shay's been the recipient of a couple of these phone calls.
Yeah, but not just from you. I know other people that own locations, and it's not just you. So I you're out on a limb already. So I'm just like,
well, I expect you to treat my location like it's your house, not like it's, I don't know. I mean, do you go over to somebody's house and go through and treat it poorly? I mean,
I don't know.
No, but some of these places do, and they're just like, they treat it like it's some hotel room, and then
even hotel rooms, I treat better than some of these people treat haunted venues.
Yes, like, so, don't get me wrong. Some teams are excellent.
Most are.
Most teams are excellent. Most teams will come in. You can't even tell they've been there. It's great.
Yeah.
They're nice. They're very polite. And then you have the other ones that we crash everywhere.
Yeah. Certain locations in Iowa, I know people have stolen stuff, broken stuff at different locations. Broken stuff.
I've had furniture broken.
Yeah.
I've had trash left everywhere. I've had my security system unplugged.
Oh, I will get into that in a minute, if she allows me, people.
I have had the property left unlocked when the team leaves.
Yep.
Unsecured. Totally leaving my location unsecured. I've had them leave doors open when they leave. Just lack of respect. And that's so frustrating.
So here's the first question. What do you do when teams treat your property that way? Because most of us are just...
Most teams are really, really good. So,
right. But we have those few that do this over and over, and you get it in Messenger over and over, but nobody says it out loud.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the teams that were the bad ones. Mm-hmm. Trust me, I remember. I changed some of my rules after a few bad experiences. Some of my rules were changed. One of my bigger rules right now is you have to tell me what time you're going to show up and what time you're going to leave. Yeah. I mean, and
that should have been one from the beginning.
Well, and honestly, who doesn't do that? Who doesn't just tell? I mean,
I know, but
I don't live on this location, so I go out there and I'm waiting. You say you're going to get there at 5. I'm there to meet you at 5 o'clock.
Right.
You don't show up until 7.
If it was me, I would have locked the door and left. Like,
actually, that's what I am doing right now.
You should. You really should.
I will wait out there 30 minutes from the time you told me you will be there. And
unless you message, say, hey, I broke down. I'll be there soon. Like, that's different.
Yes. If something happens, message me and let me know. But
you can't show up when Whatever you want.
Pay the deposit, say they're showing up, and then no call, no show.
Yeah. Because you have no life. You have nothing better to do than sit there and wait for them.
Apparently not. Or,
right.
Yeah, like, yep. And the one that really created the rule was the one that,
oh God,
couldn't give me the time when they said they were going to show up. I called them 3 times that day asking what time they were going to show up. And I mean, I'm not like that where I'm like nagging people, but come on, I need to know what time you're going to show up. And, the first phone call, we're not sure, check with us a little while, we'll get things together. Next phone call is, I just don't know yet. We're working on it. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Third phone call is, I think we'll be there around X time. Okay, great. I'll see you then. So then 15 minutes after the time, they're not there. And I'm calling again going, are you showing up or what? Oh, yeah. We stopped to eat, and I think it'll probably be, and, and like 2 hours later, they finally show up, and I'm just like, how freaking rude.
All right, but devil's advocate, I love you. I'm going to say that first.
I know, I'm too nice. I know
you are. How much responsibility does that lay on you? Or the other owners that are listening to this, listening to what mistakes you have made. How much, like now you've changed it, but
now
shouldn't they all be like, if you say you're going to be here at 5, you're not here at 5:15. You're done and you lose your deposit. I'm sorry. It's why I don't own a location.
Well,
unless they call and say something.
I might be a little nicer than, I mean, I know some of the
other little.
If you don't show up at 5 o'clock, you're screwed.
But shouldn't that be the, other people that are listening?
Tell me what time you're going to be there and be there. If something happens, let me know.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yep. But yeah, I'm at the point now. I had 2 people who paid deposits and didn't show up this summer.
Did you keep the deposit?
Yes, I did. I didn't even bother to
contact them. You should.
I didn't make an attempt to contact them. I'm like, you know what?
No.
It's not on me. It's not on me. You are the one. But
I know it's hard.
It's hard because I am a nice person. I really am.
She is too nice. Let me tell you.
And I really think that, honestly, if you would have said something, I would have changed dates. I've changed dates for people if stuff comes up.
But the no call, no show. You're just sitting there for 3 hours. You're a single mother. You have better stuff to do.
Yeah, anymore. And right now it's 15 minutes. If no call, no show, 15 minutes, I'm out of there. Lock the door.
Good.
You get there and the door's locked, well, then you can call me and try and make some arrangements.
When you started out, did you think every booking, money, 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 do whatever it takes to make them happy? And now you're learning? Wait a minute. They're not showing up. They're not doing this. They're unplugging my cameras.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I will say, at the beginning, I was a little bit more,
naive.
I was a little more bend-over-y than I am now.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. But
no, I mean, and honestly, I am still a really nice person, and I will.
You are. Too nice.
I will make
again
allowances for people and about stuff. So,
but yeah, I have to say, these people also know you're a nice person and take advantage of that.
Yeah, and I've had a few that have done that, and one I'm not mentioning any names, and we're not going to call out any teams.
No, we're not.
But there's one that will never be allowed back.
There's a couple, I think.
Yeah, one that sticks out in my mind the most. But anyway, yeah, there's a few that they're not going to come back because they did definitely take advantage. And yeah,
I know, and this is hard. In sometimes,
you know what, I like big corporations. There's some big corporations and big nonprofits that run some of these haunted locations, but I'm sorry, I'm one person running a one-man show over here.
The little people.
Yeah, this directly affects me. When I hold a date for you, I am blocking that date off so I can't have a wedding or another team or somebody else out there. Yeah. And if you cancel, then I used to not charge a deposit, and now I do.
Good. You should.
Yeah.
And if those people are no call, no show, or fuck with you, keep it.
It's a non-refundable deposit.
Yeah.
I will transfer your
deposit.
deposit.
How many years did it take you to get from no deposit to non-refundable deposit?
2 years.
2 years. How many times were you fucked over in that? For other owners that are listening, that they wait too long. You waited too long. Let's be real.
I did. I waited too long. I probably lost out. Oh gosh, I probably lost out on easily over $1,000.
Yeah. So.
Easily over $1,000.
So do you think people that buy haunted locations should automatically have a non-refundable?
Something. A non-refundable deposit to hold something to hold the date. It doesn't have to be a whole lot, but something so that they get some skin in the game. And you have at least some compensation for your time for them screwing you over.
Yep.
And I'll transfer your deposit to a different date. You know, if it is like if it's icy and snowy out there,
that's different. Yeah.
You come down with COVID or something like that, I'll transfer your deposit to a different date. I'm not
we're making you sound horrible, but you're reasonable. If you call and say, my mother died, I was in a car accident, this snowstorm, you'll work with them. It's the people that no show, no call.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about tour people, tour teams, that type of stuff.
Yes, this was on the I would like to grouch about list.
I wasn't going to say it. I was trying to be professional. Oh. I was trying to make it look like I was leading you into saying something you didn't want.
No.
Yeah.
I recommend people, when you're booking an investigation, book through the venue. Call the venue, go to the venue's website, make your booking there. Please.
But why? Why?
Because a lot of these tour companies are fly-by-night, shady-ass bastards who are stealing your money and not actually providing. Number one, they're not actually providing tours. There are some that are literally charging for tours without even having any connection to the venue at all. I've seen a few of those. There's been
So let's clarify. So this individual or team, whatever you want to call it, they book the location for a certain amount of money and then charge people a certain amount of money that ends up being
Yes.
Like 3 times the amount. 4 times the amount.
Oh, yeah, they're making money off these venues. And what they're doing is they're like, they'll book the venue at the venue's price and then they'll upcharge when they sell the tickets. Now, sometimes there's some value into it. They'll be providing like meals or equipment, or there'll be like a special guest team. You know, you can investigate with one of the teams that you see on TV or whatever. And, you know, there might be a reason for the upcharge. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes there's not. And it really kind of grinds my gears that the location venue is being stiffed out of money. People are paying more to go investigate a venue, and that money is not going to the venue. It's going to a tour company. And you're not helping the venue out. You're just helping some other guy get rich.
All right.
I mean,
I get that.
Locations get money. They're getting what they asked for, but
that's where I go. So how much is it? Oh, ready?
Okay.
We're about to test our friendship.
Okay.
They couldn't see the dance I did, but I'm doing a little dance. How much is that the owner's responsibility?
It is somewhat of the owner's responsibility. I will say that, because the owner can cap how many people are on their location, and they can approve or deny the tour company using the location, booking the location to give tours out of. So yeah, there is some of that.
If one of these tour people book your location and you allow it,
and I have not allowed a lot of them.
But if you do, isn't that your responsibility? If you know what they do.
Yes and no. Because sometimes the tour company will tell me one thing and then in fact do another thing.
But that's different. Yeah. So, elaborate on that. Let's start there. You think you get into one thing and they do another.
So they'll make an agreement with me when they book the thing, saying they'll give me a percentage, and then not give me the percentage.
Yeah, but is it as
or the percentage?
I love you. I'm so sorry in advance.
Under the amount that I would typically charge, or they just flat out won't pay it.
Yeah, but that's different. I'm
telling you, some of these tour places are shady. They're like,
I've seen Amy Bruni. Is that If that's not the right name, don't
Amy Bruni just got stiffed out of a fee.
Her and Adam.
Yeah, they did. They got stiffed out of money for. They came to
not a fee. They got stiffed.
Yeah. Yeah, they came and did the speaking arrangement. They were supposed to get paid, and they did not. At least that was I think if I remember right.
Oh, yeah, because they called the team out. Straight out said. But, all right, so as an owner, how do you know who to trust?
It's hard.
It is.
It's hard because you
as a good person, want to trust everybody.
Yes, and you want to be like one of those locations like Waverly where, people want to come to, and when you have a different group promoting your location, it's exciting.
It is.
Company come and because they'll call themselves production companies, and they are, and they'll come and they'll help promote your location, and it's great until it's really not.
So how many of the owners of these locations have dealt with these people? When do you call them out and when do you don't? Because you call them out, you look like you're whining.
I don't like to call them out publicly.
Yeah.
I don't like to call them out publicly. You'll notice I haven't mentioned any names.
No, but because you look like you're like, wah, wah, poor me. But they do
Right.
it over and over again until
And-
somebody like Amy Bruni calls them out. That people are like, what? What? Huh?
Yeah. Well, like I said, there's some that just like grind my gears. And there are a lot of tour groups that I have said absolutely no to Camry for hosting at Camry. And it's just, I've had to change my rules.
Yeah.
So,
But but I know we're bitching here, but that's what we want. The people
Yeah.
that are starting out, how
Well,
do they set their rules without having to change them 3-4 years later?
right. And again, like I was telling you earlier, when you go to a hotel room and you're like, gee, why are these picture frames screwed into the wall? I don't understand. There's a reason for that. And you don't really know, but this is the reason. And yeah, now, if I have to come out to the farm extra to do your promotions in advance, I'm going to be charging you.
But if I owned a haunted location, I would have one person there at all times. Easier said than done, I know,
I
but
said that. No, I think you missed what I said.
I did.
Yeah, because this group wanted, they came out 3 separate times to investigate, and I only charged them once. And the way they convinced me of doing it was like the first few times are for promotion purposes. And basically, they screwed me out of 3 dates. They only paid for 1.
Yeah, see? Not cool.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't really cool. And I was just getting a straight percentage of what they were making. Yeah. So,
It's
anyway.
like, people, you're not ghost adventurers. Hopefully. Number one. Never mind. But you don't need to be there a week. You pay for a day, you're there a day.
Yeah, you pay there a day, you're there a day. And if you're going to want extra days, I'm going to make you pay for extra days now. I'm sorry, but I am.
No, don't.
Even if
There you go. Don't be sorry.
Even if they're used for promotional purposes to help sell ticket sales,
Yeah,
you're going to have
don't.
to pay for it. And you're going to have to pay for my base price, period. If you want to choose to pay me extra, that's great. You're also going to have to pay per person on the property. So.
You should. I don't know why anybody would think they would not have to.
They don't. And, yeah.
It just does not make sense to me at all.
No, unlike some of the ones I've said no to, they wanted to schedule stuff without even having to come look at the property at all. And like, you can't, they weren't going to come look at it at all. They were just going to show up and host a tour out there. And I'm like, but you haven't even seen it to know how many people you can have out here.
Yeah.
How is that going to work? And you're just going to show up? Yeah.
And sell as many as they can, tickets.
And yes, so as many tickets as they can. And that one I just flat out said no, I was not comfortable with.
Because you care about the location. You care about the spirits. And that's not saying everybody that owns a location doesn't. They just haven't been down this road yet. Which is why we're doing it.
Right. Well, and like one of the ones that kind of irritated me recently was one that I went to investigate this location, and I know what I paid out of pocket. I went together with a bunch of friends. Like some of these bigger places are kind of pricey to go to. They're charging big money, but they have big bills.
Yeah.
And, let's say let's say the location fee is $1,000. You take 10 friends, it's $100 a piece.
But when you have 100 people...
Right. So I paid $100 to go investigate a location, and then some of my other friends went at a separate time. So I went with 15 of my friends, and we had a really good time. Awesome investigation. I was able to go into some parts of that all by myself and investigate all by myself. And it was great. My other friends worked through a tour company. And they paid the same amount that I did. Actually, I think they might have even paid a little bit more. And they investigated the same location with over 75 people.
Yeah.
And did not have the quality experience that I had. I mean, a quote-unquote team with them that had equipment that they were allowed to use, kind of. But with 75 people there, they didn't. I mean, you couldn't hear anything. That was one of their main complaints. Was like they were trying to do EVP, they couldn't do any EVP because there were too many people there, and like they couldn't do any of the investigating that they really wanted to do because there was just way too many people there. They paid the same price that I did, whereas if they had just like booked through the venue with 10 of their friends, they could have had such a much better experience. Even if they weren't experienced investigators, they would have had 100 times better experience. I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like they're taking advantage of it and they're not giving the value.
But because they're coordinating it.
Right. And like, I don't have that many friends that would want to go or whatever. I mean, that's where like Steve Weeks, Believers United Society comes in, where you can have friends to go with,
Exactly. And
that has been Facebook events. There was like, oh gosh. Last year, there was some Facebook event that was charging money that was not affiliated with the location at all. I know they did the Conjuring House at least a couple times, and they had a hard time getting Facebook to even pull it. They were charging money for tickets, saying that they were the Conjuring House, and it was not the Conjuring House.
Oh, my God.
I'm just saying, it go to the venue's website, book through the venue. Even they'll have public investigations. A lot of them will do, if they're having an event that you could go to, you can go there, I mean, just, there are reputable tour companies. I do ghost tours at other locations as well. I host them. So, and then I have friends who do investigations, that host investigations. There are reputable ones out there, 100%.
But do your research.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You think anybody will ever listen to us again?
I don't know. I think I actually cussed Shay. I think I actually cussed.
On this show? No.
I did. Oh,
you
yeah,
said
I did.
Cuss does not count as a cuss. You did not swear.
I did. I said it. I know I did. I said at least one word.
I don't think so.
You're going to have to put an R rating on it now.
Actually, it's my show. All my shows are explicit. Just because you never know what I'm going to say. We can go on, and I hope people took this in the best light possible. It's just like...
Yeah, no, and I don't want to call out any names of teams.
No.
I'm not trying to put a spotlight on anybody. If you feel called out, well, then what did you do?
Exactly.
Everything I do out there just helps support the house. I may not be a non-profit, but I'm not profiting here.
But exactly. That's what I was about to say. It doesn't mean if it supports a house, you're not making money. Alright, so you make a certain amount of money above what it takes to run the house. Does that cover your time? Absolutely not.
No,
See?
no, it isn't. And even if it's beyond paying for my bills, then I have upkeep and maintenance costs that eat up. Yeah, no, electrical upgrade. I had to do an electrical upgrade at Cambry. I've already spent $3,000 on that this last year, and I've got another $1,500 I have to put down. And that was not a choice. I had to do the electrical upgrade. So yeah, beyond just paying bills, I've got upkeep and maintenance of the house, and
then your personal life.
Oh yeah,
It does not cover the maintenance. It does not cover you. Like, some people think just like, oh, let's take advantage of them because they own this location. Well, it's not how it works.
Like, all the promotional stuff I have to do to try and get people convinced that my house is haunted and I'd like you to come to it. Like, going to the conventions, I absolutely love, but basically that's my vacation because you have to pay to go to the convention. I have to pay for the hotel room. Yep. And I mean, it's fun, I feel like I need to do it because that's how people find out about haunted locations, especially little ones like mine. But it's not cheap. And like, they're like, oh, why don't you go to this one and this one and that one? And I'm like, I'm not made of money. I can't go to every Paracon. I can't afford that. I mean,
no, I hear you.
I would love to go to all the Paracons. I would love to be able to do that, but
in reality,
it's not free.
All right, Rebecca, thank you so much. You were very candid, very open, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm not usually this angsty.
All right, so in case people don't hate us,
in case you would actually like to come to my location, I promise I'm usually pretty nice.
Too nice. We've established that. So, where can people find you?
I'm Cambry House, pretty much everywhere. It's Cambry House on Instagram, CambryHouse.com, Cambry House on Facebook. I'm Cambry House on TikTok too. You can watch some of my cat videos. And some of my investigations. I've been putting some more investigation videos on there, so it's not just all cat videos anymore.
Nice. And aren't you on a show? I've heard you were on a show.
I have an amazing podcast with a great co-host called Exploring the Unknown with Rebecca and Shay, where we take headlines and give them a paranormal twist.
Yeah, pretty much that means I make fun of them as she reads them.
I read stories, Shay makes fun of them, and then we laugh a lot. It's fun.
Yeah, it is. 20, 30 minutes, we're good. Yeah. So, all right, guys, thanks
for listening.